Alrighty, today, my YouTubians, I am Asherella, and this is my channel, Original Asherella. Now, if it's your first time here, I talk about all kinds of stuff on my channel. Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's silly, sometimes I rant and obsess over the things I hate, but very often I rant and obsess over the things that I love, and that is what I'm going to be doing today. Now, I'm going to be talking about the TV show Bonanza. Now, if you're familiar with Bonanza, you might think, wow, I would have never guessed that, Ash. But, I love the things I love, unapologetically, and if I like something, I love it, and that is no exception with Bonanza. I'm going to get into all of that in just a minute, but before I do that, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Original Asherella. Leave me a like and a comment, gently caress, that was a really aggressive gently caress, the notification bell, and follow me on my social media accounts. Alrighty, so if you do not know what Bonanza is, real quickly, Bonanza is an American TV show drama that started in the late 50s and ran into the 70s. There were 14 seasons of this show. It is a Western cowboy show. Kind of serious, but it does actually have its moments of comedy. I actually really like Western things, and that might not seem something very typical Asherella. I'm a vampire, not a cowboy. Maybe I'm a cowboy vampire. But, my dad, who passed away a few years ago, my dad was a cowboy, and he loved, Western stuff. I used to watch, old Western movies Hang 'em High and that kind of stuff with my dad. And so I think that definitely plays into one of the reasons that I do have a fondness for this type of thing. But Bonanza, I've been watching since I was very small, and I continue to watch it. It's one of those shows that I can rewatch episodes and they never really get old. But, okay, so if you don't really know what Bonanza is, like I said, it started in late 50s, ran into the 70s. It has been, syndicated in reruns. It's probably never been off the air entirely. It comes on, off-air channels, through, an off-air antenna. Cable channels replay it, and right now, if you have a Roku, you can at least watch season 1 and 2 for free on the Roku channel, and if you have YouTube Premium, I think you can watch the entire series. But yes, I love Bonanza. It is a really, really great show. And like I was saying, if you're not familiar with it, it was set, it's about the Cartwrights. That is the family. It's the dad and 3 sons, and they have a ranch in Nevada called the Ponderosa, and it's right outside of Virginia City. Now, it is set the post-Gold Rush era, right at the end of the Civil War. There's, no cars. Everybody's horse and buggy at this point. Very cowboy, very saloon-ish, you know what I mean? It's a little violent. There's a ton of fighting, and I'm going to talk about that just in a bit. But one of the things that I actually love about Bonanza, and it might be the anthropologist, historian aspect of that in me, but there are so many episodes of Bonanza that pretty accurately address historical realities, things that really happened during that era. Now, for example, there is a episode of, and I can't remember the season or the name of the episode, but the Cartwrights, they're not at the Ponderosa, they're not at their ranch, they're on a coast somewhere. And okay, during this time, it was common for ship captains to pay people to trick drunk men into joining their crew. If they needed sailors, they would trick people into joining the crew. And sometimes beyond trick, they would trap and almost kidnap them. And there is an episode of Bonanza where the Cartwrights are out on the coast, and they're in this saloon, and they meet this guy, and one of them's standing at the end of the bar, in this saloon, and they pull a lever and the trap door falls out, and then it's the dad, I think is the first one that they get, falls down into this waterway underneath, and these other guys come out, get him, and then basically sell him to the ship captain. That happened. Like, that is something that actually happened, like, in U.S. history, and there were bars and saloons that would have these trap doors, and these people that would basically aid in kidnapping people for boat crews. Now, isn't that crazy, right? But there, that's just one example of, kind of like the things that you see in Bonanza that would actually happen, or actually happened in history. Now, you know who I'm talking to. Anyway, so, like, also, though, one of the things about Bonanza that I'm always, like, so curious about, like I mentioned, it is very violent. There's a lot of fighting, and I mean, it's the Wild West, like, maybe that's another reason that I like it, because, like, I feel like, YouTube and relative platforms are kind of like the Wild West of the internet, so maybe that's why I like Bonanza. But anyway, okay, so, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of gunfighting, and, they have these badass cowboy, like, revolvers, your gun holster, and, carrying your gun. It's very much a part of, like, the whole, like, aesthetic. I really like the whole, like, vibe as far as, like, the fashion goes on the show, too. Now, I don't want to, like, dress like that every day, but I do like, I appreciate what's going on there. But anyway, okay, so there's a lot of gunfighting, and so it got me thinking, like, the Cartwrights, that's the family. There is Ben, who's the dad, and the three sons, Adam, Little Joe, and Haas. I think they all have different moms, and that's like, ooh, risque. But anyway, so the three sons, they're big wigs in Virginia City. They're a wealthy family. For the most part, they're real good-looking men. Haas, not so much, but he's got a good personality. And so, everybody knows the Cartwrights. And then, at one point in time, Ben runs for office, I believe. But anyway, like, they shoot people with reckless abandon, like, on Bonanza. Like, the Cartwrights shoot and kill so many people on the show. Now, we would never get that in, like, a network TV show with such, like, whatever, you know what I mean? Just like, yep, Little Joe shot another guy today, whatever. There are a few episodes in which, they're kind of put on trial or investigated for whatever happened. But, most of the time, because that's just how life was, I guess. But I was thinking, okay, so how many people have the Cartwrights killed throughout the series? And I Googled it, and the best I could find was 666 people were killed by the Cartwrights throughout the series of Bonanza, and 3 women. So 666 men and 3 women. So at least, they didn't discriminate all the time. If a bitch needed to be put down, she was put down. Other people died in the series, but that is just, lots of other people died in the series, men and women, but 666 people is just who the Cartwrights killed. And that is just, like, nuts to me. But anyway, yeah, I love Bonanza. I think it's a great show. If you've never watched it, watch it. And the last thing I want to say, if you've never seen Bonanza, I guarantee you've heard the theme song. I did not know that the theme song actually had words until here recently. And then actually, if you watch Unknown Archives stream, The Dump, he played it on the stream last night. It's actually, just a few days ago that I came across the Bonanza theme song with words. Personally, I think it's way better without words. But if you were on the Dump stream last night, you heard it. You can check that out or just Google it, I guess. But that was, interesting kind of like side note. But the theme song without the lyrics is iconic. Like, you've definitely heard it. And you'll be like, oh, yeah, I know that whenever you look it up, if you have no clue what I'm talking about. But okay, I guess that's all for my Bonanza obsession fangirling on Bonanza. Like, who does that, right? But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I am Asherella. This is my channel, Original Asherella. Thanks so much if this is your first time here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, gently press that notification bell, find me on my social media accounts, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Always tap in, never tap out, and keep on slaying like a Saiyan.